Have you ever stared at something for so long that you stop seeing the bigger picture? This recently happened to me in Mario Kart 8. I've played the game since its release on the Wii U and made the transition to the Deluxe version on the Switch, because all my friends were playing it and I easily cave on their peer pressure. But like starting a Minecraft server with your friends that you're definitely going to be playing on for longer than a week, we all eventually moved on to different games. But with the release of some new DLC, I decided that 6 years after the game's release is the perfect time to start playing again. But something weird happened. By not playing it for so long, I looked at the game with almost a fresh pair of eyes and started noticing details again that I simply blurred out after playing it for so long. The same thing happened only yesterday, when rewatching Breaking Bad, a thing I seem to do almost every year. I suddenly noticed that Walter has this stick between his fingers in the first episode, and I just never noticed. And maybe you also just noticed it for the first time. Normally, while playing Mario Kart, your vision gets narrowed down to about a third of the screen, but those blinders had now fallen off. For example, I now notice that the position numbers have animations that are set to your speed, or that the Mario Kart TV fans follow you with their cameras as you drive by. But the thing that stood out the most to me were the billboards, or to be more specific, sponsors. They are everywhere. On the tracks, on the carts, in the sky. Even the loading screen is filled with them, and I just never really paid attention to it. And that's when a question arose. Are these just decorations for the tracks, or is there more behind them? When you beat the game, they show a lot of the sponsors in the credits, so they gotta have some meaning, right? After looking into it, we can pretty much put all of the sponsors that appear in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and all the DLC released so far into 3 categories: story, explanation, and decoration. And as you can probably tell, it's a lot. So let's just pick a few of the more interesting ones and see what's behind the curtain. For example, have you seen this poster before? Kung Fu Lucky 2 is apparently a movie in the Mario Kart universe that's a parody of Kung Fu Panda, hence the similar style and pose. And although the poster appears in the map Ribbon Road, it mentions the map Dragon Driftway. And to my surprise, when playing the map again, Lucky 2 suddenly appears everywhere. On the walls, as statues, all in different fighting poses. And there's a reason for this. See, the poster is visible in the level, but to actually see it in its entirety is not an easy task. On a normal playthrough of the map, you only see the full image for a split second. And what do you do with such a little detail? You give it a sequel. On the DLC map Bangkok Rush, the poster for the sequel can be seen on this pole. What's even more interesting is that Jack Black voices the character Po in the movie Kung Fu Panda, and he also voices Bowser in the Mario movie.
He moves right there! Coincidence? I think not!
But not every detail is that big, of course. There are lots of small little hints that explain why things are the way they are in Mario Kart. Take Lemmy's tire service, for example. Lemmy was first introduced as one of the mini-bosses in Super Mario Bros. 3, and it's quite fitting that he makes tires since he's basically attached to a rolling object. Did you know that the character Roy is based on the musician Roy Orbison? I can see the resemblance, and in this game it makes sense why he's the guy behind the music with Roy's smooth sounds. I also love the fact that there are companies like Red Shell Strike Equipment and Banana Boy to explain some of the items in the game. Or that Chain Chomp Racing Chains, one of the many companies in the game, gives an explanation to who chained these chomps. Seems like they do have to improve a bit, since the chains are often broken, but I appreciate the effort. And my personal favorite little detail is Super Marine World. The name is of course a parody of Super Mario World, but the purpose of the company is to explain why the dolphins on the map Dolphin Shoals wear scuba goggles. Not that it makes more sense now, but still quite interesting that someone at Nintendo felt like this needed a reason. Sunshine Airport. I really like this map a lot. It's a reference, of course, to Super Mario Sunshine and takes place on Isle Delfino. And if you've played the map, you probably noticed the planes, all decorated with Mario references. But more importantly, actual airline names like Boomerang Bros International Airlines, Propeller Toad Transport, and Galaxy Air. Also, this plane has a mustache. Inside of the airport, you can see screens with flights to other maps. But what you might have never noticed is that the airport actually makes announcements about planes leaving for different maps in the game.
Passengers departing on Galaxy Airlines, Flight 2580, bound for Dolphin Shoals, should proceed to Customs and Immigration at this time.
The audio of these announcements is actually quite soft when you play and gets almost completely overshadowed by the music. But what's even crazier is that these announcements, which were in the original Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U, seem to be teasing the inclusion of Birdo, the DLC character that was released in March of this year.
Paging Galaxy Airlines, Flight 2218, passenger Ms. Birdo. Please proceed to the information counter on floor 2.
And when looking into the sponsors of Mario Kart 8, I found this picture. A wall art of Mario, Luigi and Toad at Narita International Airport, with Toad sitting on a suitcase playing the Switch. Now what's most interesting is actually the suitcase itself, featuring lots of stickers that reference Nintendo titles, but most importantly Bowser Oil, one of the sponsors of Mario Kart 8. It is quite ironic that Bowser, a dinosaur, sells oil, but this name might be more than just a joke. The song Ignorance is Bliss by the band Jellyfish was featured on a compilation album released by Nintendo in 1991 that came with a comic. The comic features a conversation between Bowser and Peach, where Bowser tells his plan to join OPEC, a real-life company that sells oil, with Peach responding that Bowser is too ignorant to be an oil tycoon.
Huh? Oh, come on! You gotta admit this is cool!
The last thing I want to talk about is not so much of a detail, but simply the amount of it. Specifically, Toad. You might simply forget about it when playing, but if there is one character featured in Mario Kart 8, it's definitely Toad. You can play as Toad. You can see Toad in multiple maps just standing around and waving. 3 maps are named after Toad. But what surprised me the most is how many of the sponsors and companies are owned by Toad. You have Toad City Sightseeing, Toad Toy Store, Toad Shopping Plaza, Toad Services, and Propeller Toad Transport. One of Mushroom Car Insurance Group, Toad Mushroom Powered, Toad Polar Expedition and Rainbow Exploration Agency. That's 9 different companies owned and run by Toads. Now, just for comparison, how many companies belong to Mario? 4. Just 4 references to the guy whose name is literally in the title. And those 9 are just the ones that either feature Toad or have his name in them, because there are still more. Take Moo Moo Meadows Milk for example, a company that presumably sells milk from the cows on the map Moo Moo Meadows. Who happens to be the character that we can see all around the map? You guessed it, Toad. Women of Racing organization featuring all the women in Mario Kart. Characters like Peach, Daisy, Rosalina, oh, and Toadette. I don't trust that wink for 1 second. Or this Galaxy Air poster for Dry Desert. What are you running from, Toad? Huh? The anti-monopoly law established in 1890? Or what about Mushroom Piston? Seems like a company that simply makes pistons, right? Wrong. Out of all of the characters they could have picked, they chose to feature Toad on one of the posters. Why is he there? Actually, come to think of it, the similarities between Toad and a mushroom cannot be ignored. It's just Toad without a mouth. His racing team is called Toad Mushroom Powered, with the logo being a mushroom. It's just the head of a toad. Oh no. Oh no, Toad, what have you done? Was this a toad? Are they all just toads? With Mario Kart 8 Deluxe being the most sold game on the Switch and the 6th most sold video game of all time, I figured these sponsors were already widely covered. But no. Nobody really seems to have made a video about it or even really paid attention to it. I just wanted to show some appreciation for the hard work that goes into world building. It's something that often gets overlooked, which, ironically, is kind of its purpose. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe and leave a like. It really helps out a lot. Also, if you want to know what I'm up to, you can follow me on Twitter. I often post about things that are going to be in future videos, progress on the current video, and some really dumb memes. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you again, and bye bye.